The highly anticipated finale for Cour 3 has just been released. Similar to previous seasons, we had 2 incredible final episodes released at the same time. Episode 39 titled The Visible Answer and episode 40 titled My Last Words do so much to build upon and improve the source material while also staying true to Kubo's vision, and this is entirely thanks to him playing the role of supervisor for the anime. Episode 39 adapts material that wasn't adapted into earlier episodes from chapter 647, and then a lot of rearranged content which spans from chapters 655 to 659. So in total we have just over 4 chapters worth of manga material adapted here. Meanwhile, the finale of Cour 3 episode 40 adapted content that wasn't in earlier episodes too from chapters 635 and 654. Then it largely focused on adapting content which spans from chapters 659 to the midpoint of chapter 661. There was also a surprise edition of 2 pages from chapter 674 that features 2 fan favorite characters that I am really looking forward to talking more about, because everyone was thinking that this moment was going to be adapted into Cour 4, so it's incredible that it's made it into the finale of Cour 3. These 14 episodes from Cour 3 have been put together with so much love and consideration, as there has been so much rearranging of the manga content, but the anime staff include very thoughtful additions that expand upon the story and help scenes transition between each other. These last 2 episodes fleshed out the motives of Uryu. They showed us all new flashback sequences, and they made sure to shine a spotlight on several characters who were very underutilized during this portion of the manga. A lot was done here to set up for Cour 4 also, with scenes involving Riruka and Yukio, teaser glimpses of Rangiku, Mayuri and Hitsugaya, and so much more. Definitely stick around until the very end of this video, as I'll be breaking down all of the incredible animation staff who are responsible for these amazing episodes. This includes the legendary Ichiro Uno, who had done some fantastic work on episode 40, and also don't miss my predictions for Cour 4 at the end of this review. This is where I'll be revealing details about how we can expect over 7 episodes of anime original content for the final season of the anime. So without further delay, here is my thoughts on the Cour 3 finale of Bleach's 1000-Year Blood War arc anime. We got really tired of the same old boring anime shirts, so we decided to launch Getsuga.com with the aim of creating designs inspired by our favorite anime and manga. We came up with designs that look cool and represent all of our favorite stories. Check out the latest Instinct collection, which features some amazing designs like this Frosted Heavens design inspired by Toshiro Hitsugaya, or this Instinct design inspired by Holo Ichigo, and my personal favorite, which is the Heart design, which was inspired by Ukiura Shifa. Do not miss out, go to Getsuga.com and wear your favorite stories. Episode 39 was a fantastic episode, as it serves as a bridge filling in content about Gerard from chapter 647, which the anime had skipped. And then we continue with manga content from chapter 654, adapting half of chapter 658 and concluding with parts of chapters 659 and 660. While this may sound a bit disjointed on paper, the execution in the actual episode is seamless, enhancing the overall viewing experience in ways that I did not expect. The episode also includes some much needed anime original additions that were absent from the manga, starting with its opening sequence. One thing that I cannot praise the anime enough for is its clever choices in optimizing aspects of the story. If you've been following these episode reviews, then you'll know how I've been talking about the fact that Mimihagi and Ukitake are still alive, which means that they most likely still have another role to play within the story. It's shown that Ukitake and Mimihagi have been steadily expending their energy to stabilize the 3 worlds, even after their failure to stop Yhwach. But from this scene at the very beginning of episode 39, it's evident that their efforts have now reached their limits. The stream of energy which is releasing from Ukitake's body is slowly dissipating, and this development does carry significant implications which are shown to us later in the episode. This scene also resolves a major issue that I had with the manga. So after Yhwach had killed and absorbed the Soul King and Mimihagi, it never made sense to me as to why he had decided to maintain the world as it was instead of destroying it immediately. By using the Almighty, he had the power to end everything while sparing his Quincy followers and ensuring the resulting chaos would annihilate the Shinigami. This was such an easy way for Yhwach to have won that it made his inaction here feel illogical within the manga. The anime, however, provides a much needed explanation as it reveals that that Yhwach didn't destroy everything because Ukitake and Mimihagi were actively preventing the universe from collapsing. With them now reaching their limit, Yhwach is finally free to act as he pleases. This also explains the happy look that he had on his face when he had started to feel the world beginning to collapse once again. Later in the episode, we see Yhwach overwhelming Mimihagi and Ukitake with his spiritual pressure alone. This is especially impressive because Yhwach had already passed the Almighty to Hashwald, meaning this display of power is purely Yhwach's natural strength, which is absolutely insane. On a side note, I have to celebrate the fact that the red sky has finally gone. Seeing the Soul Society's regular night sky was a visual treat here, and I'm particularly excited about this because it confirms that the final stages of the battle in the Soul Society are actually going to be taking place under natural lighting, which will significantly enhance the visual potential for those scenes. All of that is going to be happening within Core 4, so we have that to look forward to. Now, something that I wasn't expecting to see was Renji returning to the story to battle against Gerard. Seeing Rukia express her relief and happiness at Renji being okay had brought me more joy than I care to admit, and what truly left me speechless though was learning that after his defeat at the hands of Uryu, the Vizards had stepped in and Hachi was able to heal Renji. This makes a lot of sense as it explains why the Vizards were able to come out in the open and help Renji, because Lil Barrow had shifted his focus from Uryu as soon as his battle with Renji had ended, as Lil had started his confrontation against Shunsui. Hachi's quick observation that Renji's wound was exceptionally clean and not life-threatening also explains how Renji was able to recover so quickly and rejoin the battle. This anime original scene doesn't just serve Renji's recovery, it also gives the Vizards a much more significant purpose within the story. Their role is saving a pivotal character like Renji, who later inspires Ichigo to keep fighting. This is a very noteworthy addition that the anime accomplishes beautifully, and it's a well-deserved win for the Vizards, who were underutilized in the manga. These small details are exactly why I love the anime's restructuring of events so much. Every story element feels more intentional, as it weaves together in a way that the manga didn't quite achieve. By simply rearranging the sequence of fights, the anime has been able to give relevance to characters who had very little impact in the manga. A similar example is how the anime established that Ukitake saved Kinpachi's life when he was on the verge of death after his fight with Gremi, another impactful change that added depth to both characters. The rest of the scenes involving the fight against Gerard also include some anime original additions, such as the anime staff remembering that Soifon exists. As funny as that sounds, she honestly completely disappeared in the manga during this part of the story. In the anime, she remains present with the others and even has a few lines of anime original dialogue. I appreciate that we do get to see her participate in the fight, even if it's just to get one-shotted by Gerard, rather than having her just magically vanish off the screen. This episode may spark some controversy due to its inclusion of the infamous Carpid Ichigo meme panel. Many fans had hoped that this moment would be skipped in the anime, as it arguably portrays Ichigo as weak. Personally, I find this criticism a bit exaggerated, especially since the anime has already demonstrated that Askin had to work hard to create a poison which was capable of affecting someone as powerful as Ichigo. If you remember, from episode 35, Askin initially couldn't poison Ichigo, and it wasn't until episode 39 that he significantly amplified his dosing to make it effective. This adaptation highlights Askin's intelligence and creativity as a combatant. Furthermore, his monologue to an unconscious Ichigo adds more depth to his character, and while this growth for Askin happens at Ichigo's expense, it's such a minor and inconsequential moment that it doesn't ruin Ichigo's reputation at all in my opinion, and I'm glad that the anime had decided to still include this. Speaking of Askin, we need to talk about how they upgraded the depiction of his poison bath. It's a massive improvement over the green puddle that we had seen in Core 2, and here the poison bath looks far more menacing and visually striking. The addition of the thin film interference effect enhances its threatening presence, making it not only more dangerous but also aesthetically impressive. It's an incredible visual upgrade, and I really hope that this new look is maintained for his poison abilities, which will be showcased in Core 4. I also appreciate how the anime anime isn't shying away from showing the immediate consequences of Mimihagi's awakening. The effects are clear, with the sky of the world of the living developing multiple spatial distortions and earthquakes intensifying across all realms. It raises the question of whether if the universe can even survive through the events of Cour 4. With Yhwach accelerating the universe's destruction from his throne, it would be really interesting to see this collapse unfold. Perhaps we could witness the primordial state of the world as a result of this. Now, it's going to be impossible to review episode 39 without talking about the best girl Yoruichi. I just cannot get over how good she looks in this episode. Her character art is particularly consistently good, as she had some of the best animation in the episode. It's exciting to see how they'll handle the upcoming sections of her battle against Askin, and this episode has only made me more hyped for what's to come. She's incredible, and the anime is doing her justice in the best way possible. From episode 39, it's becoming clear that the Gerard fight is shaping up to be one of the most expanded sections of the anime. Even the introductory phases of his clash with the Shinigami has received substantial improvements. For instance, the small team attack that Momo and Shinji pulled off against Gerard was a nice anime exclusive addition to see. It's safe to assume that similar additions and expansions will continue to be made throughout the rest of the fight sequences against Gerard. Considering what happens within episode 40, I feel like we're in for something truly special with Gerard's storyline. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some major reveals or even flashbacks during the fight, and one intriguing moment which stood out to me was how Rangiku seemed to look at Gerard as if she knew more about him than she was letting on. This very subtle detail has me really excited for what we're going to be getting in Cour 4. Now, I've saved talking about Uryu and Hashwald's part of episode 39 until the end, because their scenes actually appear at the start and then at the end of the episode. The most significant change here is how Uryu's plan to take down Varavelt has been reworked in the anime. The anime has completely done away with the Reishi collapse chips from the manga, which is a change that I wholeheartedly welcome. This original plan, thinking that dropping someone like Yhwach from a great height would be able to kill him, felt very ridiculous, and it made Uryu come across as less competent than Kubo likely had intended. The anime has thankfully rectified this, and it's given Uryu's actions a bit more believability. Now, we are going to be having quite a few corrections like this, because a lot of the material from this part of the manga was rushed, and another addition which adds more context to a scene from the manga is this anime original post-credit scene that we got in episode 39, and it features Isshin and Ryuken visiting what appears to be the grave of Kanai Katagiri, the late wife of Ryuken and the mother of Uryu. This serves as perfect build-up for their arrival within Varavelt in the next episode. Overall, I was a huge fan of the pacing within episode 39, and while most of this episode feels like they are setting up for Cour 4, I don't think that this is a bad thing, since a lot of what they had done here was executed so incredibly well. The first episode of this double feature finale does a great job of setting the tone of what's to come in episode 40. Episode 39 boasts some fantastic animation and features one of the most impressive key animator lineups that we've seen in Cour 3. Beginning with the episode director and storyboard artist, Ito Nagai is a graduate of former Bleach director Noriyuki Abe's School of Animation. She makes a strong solo storyboard debut with episode 39, and while I wouldn't place this on the same level as Suru's work in episode 38 or Emma Saito's work in episode 35, it still demonstrates a great level of visual finesse and creativity. The star-studded staff for this episode deserve a closer look, especially the animation directors, with 9 different animation directors contributing to episode 39. One may assume that there were production issues here, but thankfully this was not the case, as evident in the final product. The episode featured contributions from Rina Suzuki, Jung Hoon Young, Ayako Sato, Mari Tominaga, Cindy Yamauchi, Teruko Takishima, Hiroshi Natsuki, Kumiko Kato, and Jungji Huang. Alongside them, we had Chief Animation Director Toru Hasegawa and Sub-Chief Animation Director Sei Komatsubara, both of whom brought their exceptional expertise to the table. A special mention goes out to Cindy Yamauchi and Jungji Huang. Huang's involvement likely included overseeing and correcting animations done by some of his students from Studio Gear, which would explain the episode's consistently high-quality art. The characters remained largely unmodeled throughout, and while there were a few slightly off moments, Which is common in most episodes. Everything, including the effects work, looked polished and impressive. But to truly do this episode justice, we need to talk about the incredible roster of key animators. The sheer number of talented individuals involved made episode 39 a visual treat, showcasing the collaborative effort and dedication which had gone into its creation. The episode features veterans like Sugiyuki Kubo and the phenomenal Masaki Endo, who I'm confident was responsible for Yoruichi's stunning Shunko-powered beatdown. Alongside them, we had the ever-reliable Katsuhiro Takagi, the talented Hiroto Tanaga, and Retsu Okawara. While it's hard to pinpoint their exact contributions, we owe them a lot of gratitude for every beautifully animated cut in this episode. Adding to the magic, we had Atsushi Wakabayashi, who served as the main action and effects animation director. His meticulous corrections played a pivotal role in ensuring that the episode's standout action sequences were as dynamic and visually striking as they were. Finally, we had two chief animation directors, Michio Hasegawa and Seiko Matsubara, who worked together as the second and final line of art and animation corrections. With such a strong and experienced team behind the scenes, it's no wonder that this episode turned out to be such a visual powerhouse. Let's now talk about episode 40, My Last Words. Now, this installment of Bleach adapts a very interesting section of manga chapters, as it covers content from chapters 660, 661, and adds a dash of anime original scenes here and there, and even leaping all the way forward to chapter 674, because why not? This episode does wrap up with a new comedic section, which is similar to the one that we got in episode 26, the Shinigami Zukan, but this time it is hosted by Asuka, and it appears to be based off of the old Quincy Encyclopedia Omake from the 2004 anime. During this segment, we do get some unexpected lore revealed about Yhwach's Empire of Light from 1000 years ago. What's interesting is the short amount of chapters which have been adapted in the episode, but the animation team is becoming increasingly deliberate about which specific pieces of manga content to include from each chapter. This level of creation suggests that we can expect more of the same approach in Cour 4. With that said, let's dive into my breakdown of episode 40. So the episode does kick off with an anime original take on the brief fight between Uryu and Ichigo when Hashward orders Uryu to kill him. However, this quickly transitions into a flashback sequence that begins to explore Uryu's true motivations, which are much more developed than those in the manga. The anime establishes that Uryu has a personal and intimate knowledge of just how dangerous Yhwach truly is. Through Soken Ishida's journal, he learns about how Yhwach had killed his mother 9 years ago, and how Soken Ishida had made a final request to the surviving Quincy that it is their duty to defeat Yhwach once he returns. This adds a huge layer of responsibility to Uryu and adds more weight to his actions, making it entirely understandable why he would choose to undertake this mission alone, without endangering the lives of those that he cares about. This anime-exclusive flashback featuring Soken Ishida not only deepens Uryu's character, but it also provides a compelling rationale for his behavior, as well as improving his overall character arc. I loved the brief fight between Ichigo and Uryu in this episode, and beyond the excellent animation, the fight itself had a fun and technical flow which highlighted Ichigo's cleverness in battle. His choice to blind Uryu first and then use his Zanpakuto cloaked in Reiatsu to disrupt Uryu's spiritual senses was a brilliant tactical move. The sequence where Ichigo manages to pull Uryu down several floors was an impressive display of high-level fight choreography too. Overall, I've been really enjoying how true Shikai Ichigo's fighting style has been portrayed in the anime so far. Despite his reputation as a hothead, Ichigo has always been an analytical fighter, constantly evaluating his opponent and figuring out the best way to take them down. It's interesting that the anime has decided to change Uryu's true plan to defeat Yhwach, and it has yet to be revealed within the anime. These Sanrei glove collapse chips from the manga appear to have been retconned into something much more interesting, and I'm really excited to see how this will unfold within Cour 4. I have a strong feeling that Ryuken's involvement may play a significant role, which would explain why he and Isshin had shown up so much earlier than they did within the manga. Additionally, the real reason why Uryu had survived the Ashvalan still remains unanswered. Interestingly, the flashback hints that it was Uryu who was directly affected by the Ashvalan, while it appeared as though his mother Kanai Katagiri appeared to be unharmed. The conversation that we got between Uryu and Ichigo about why Uryu didn't tell him the plan or ask him to fight alongside him was a brilliant callback to their existing dynamic. Throughout these series, both characters have consistently avoided asking the other for help out of a fear of putting them in danger, only for one to force the other into helping anyway. A prime example of this is when Uryu insisted on accompanying Ichigo to Hueco Mundo, and now Ichigo is returning the favor by demanding to help Uryu with his plan. It's a fantastic way to bring the dynamic between these two characters into a full circle moment. I also appreciated how the anime handled the flashback of Uryu and Ichigo's conversation on the roof of Karakura High. It's not only tied into their current dialogue, but it also provides us with the first piece of foreshadowing for the ever important Silver of Stillness. Overall, the adaptation of Uryu and Ichigo's interactions was exceptional, with all of the additional scenes seamlessly integrated into the story. Everything felt very cohesive and thoughtfully crafted. The dynamic between Uryu and Hashward has also grown significantly thanks to the changes that were made by the anime. Their interaction now feels much more richer, and I genuinely am looking forward to their fight in Core 4. This promises to be something extraordinary. One subtle but yet brilliant detail is how the anime depicts Hashward's limited ability to wield the Almighty. His eyes momentarily flash back to their normal color before transitioning to the almighty red, visually emphasizing the strain and limitations of his power. Additionally, the episode reveals the fate of the Bambis following their ill-fated attempt to kill Yhwach. Initially, I theorized that they would be defeated by Yhwach's newly empowered sword art before even making it to his throne room. However, the anime had a far more disrespectful and grim fate in store for their little brigade. Not only do the Bambis manage to reach Yhwach's throne room, but they also boldly attempt to fight him. At this moment, Yhwach is asleep and his energy is primarily focused on destroying the three worlds. And you have to remember, he also doesn't have access to the Almighty here. This is arguably the most vulnerable state that we've ever seen Yhwach in, but yet the outcome with the Bambis is absolutely brutal. Each of the Bambis fail to land a single scratch on him, and in fact they don't even succeed in waking him up. And if that wasn't humiliating enough, all 5 of them are defeated while Yhwach remains asleep. The anime implies that the dark energy Yhwach passively emanates was enough to obliterate them on his behalf. It's entirely possible that Yhwach will wake up to find 5 corpses in his throne room without even realizing what has transpired. This has to be one of the most disrespectful defeats that I've ever seen in fiction, and it's hilariously absurd as to how the anime had chosen to depict it. We're moving on to Yoruichi's segment in this episode, which turned out to be an unexpectedly necessary addition, and I absolutely loved it. Her priority wasn't to continue fighting Askin at all costs, but rather to focus on getting Yushiro to safety and healing him. This decision highlights her practicality and emotional depth, showing her as more than just a powerhouse fighter. I also appreciated her quick thinking and ingenuity after realizing Askin had become immune to her Reiatsu. Instead of panicking, she adapts her strategy, using her Shunko to blind him before taking him down with basic but yet precise Hakuda techniques, including some well-executed kicks and a throw. This brief clash also emphasizes just how impressive Askin's abilities are, as his speed is on full display, as he's able to keep up with Yoruichi even before he uses his gift ball. Another very important aspect of episode 40 was the inclusion of the Vizards, who finally are back in action. I'm thrilled that the anime has given them the spotlight that they truly deserve, reminding us just how badass they really are. Sure, they're probably going to lose to Gerard, but if you can watch them fully assembled and ready for battle without feeling a little bit of excitement, I honestly don't know what to tell you. This moment gives me flashbacks of the fake Karakura Town arc when all of the Vizards had arrived to assist the Gotei 13. Seeing Rose and Kensei return to the battlefield, with Shinji finally donning his holo mask too, and all of them being fully holified as they prepared to take on Gerard, honestly felt like an Avengers moment. It's been far too long since they've been showcased like this, and again, I'm just really glad that they are back. On a design note, Shinji looks incredible without his captain's robe. This new look is quickly climbing my list of favorite designs in all of Bleach. For a scene that's relatively short, it manages to deliver an incredible impact. In terms of setting up for Core 4, it seems that Kubo has some big plans involving Ruruka and Yukio. If my suspicions are correct, then we may not be prepared for the level of insanity that Core 4 will deliver. Why else would these two appear in front of the Shiba residence unless they are there for a specific purpose? Are they here to retrieve a special Shiba clan artifact? Are they here to bring Kukaku Shiba to the battlefield? Or most likely, are they here to pick up Ginjo and Tsukishima? Given how important Ginjo and Tsukishima's roles are towards the end of the 1000-year Blood War arc, it's clear that the Fullbringers will make their grand appearance sooner rather than later. Episode 40 also gave us the long-awaited reveal of Kira's iconic Dead Man panel, and it's as impactful as fans would have hoped. While this moment was satisfying in itself, it does raise some questions about whether if Kira will get any further development. Will we get his fight with Shaz Domino from the short story called Beginning of the Revive of Tomorrow? It's not something that I think will be happening, but I'm sure that this inclusion will make a lot of fans very happy. Now it's time to talk about the animation staff for episode 30. The finale of Cour 3 stands out in several ways, particularly due to its creative direction. It was storyboarded entirely by Hikaru Murata and co-directed by Murata himself alongside Taguchi. Initially hearing that Murata would handle the storyboard for the final episode of Cour 3 wasn't the most reassuring news, considering his history of inconsistent storyboarding. However, this particular effort shows notable improvement, even if it still bears some of those hallmark Murata-isms that we've come to expect. The episode isn't without flaws, and there are some rough, jarring transitions that disrupt the flow of certain scenes, such as Ichigo and Uryu's fight. However, the direction overall is still solid, suggesting growth on Murata's part. The Ashvalan flashback sequence featuring Soken is especially well directed, and it stands out as a highlight. This may be thanks in part to Taguchi's influence, as he also directed parts of the episode, and overall Murata crafted a surprisingly strong storyboard, and one of the episode's strongest points is its consistently excellent character arc, particularly during the Ichigo and Uryu sequences. Hashwad looks absolutely stunning in every scene too, with several shots appearing as if they were lifted directly from the manga. Every character featured in the episode is beautifully drawn, with the Kira section really being a standout for episode 40. It captures everything that it needed to convey, especially the breathtaking moon panel, which was rendered to perfection. This quality can largely be credited to the 4 animation directors for the episode, who are Kumiko Horikoshi, Minami Shiba, Mika Okubo, and the legendary Ichiro Uno. Uno's influence is particularly noticeable given the sheer volume of exceptionally strong drawings throughout the episode. He is known for his ability to replicate any art style flawlessly. Uno's expertise significantly elevated the visual quality of this installment, as his presence was a major asset, and it's a relief to see his talent utilized for such a critical episode. When it comes to the key animators, it's fair to say that this episode's roster doesn't quite match the powerhouse lineup of episode 39. However, the talent present still delivered a solid performance, ensuring that this episode turned out well despite having a smaller pool of standout animators. One notable return to Bleach is Mitchell Gonzalez, whose contributions are most likely seen in Ichigo's brief but fluidly animated fight with Uryu. This sequence stood out as a visual highlight, and Gonzalez's signature style is evident in the clean, dynamic movements. The amazingly skilled Jason Yao also made an appearance, and it's highly probable that he worked on the same fight. Considering it was the most well-animated section of the episode, his involvement helped to elevate the overall quality of that scene. Another notable name is Takahito Katayama, a talented animator whose work might be the most evident in the morphing animation for Lil Barrow's offshoots and Kira's dramatic arrival. Katayama's expertise in creating smooth transitions and detail effects added a lot to these moments. Lastly, we have Q Chen making their 4th appearance this cour, and it's always a pleasure to see consistent contributors like Chen, whose reliable skills help to maintain the episode's overall quality. While the animator list for this episode isn't as strong as some would have liked, I find that every major name associated with episode 40 was put to good use and crafted a great visual experience. Well, there you have it. That was my complete review for the 13th and 14th episode of Cour 3. Unfortunately, we will have to wait for some time for the next season of the anime, but Cour 3 has dropped 14 incredible episodes with a ton of new additions that will definitely keep us entertained for a very long time. Now that we know that Cour 3 wraps up by adapting material up until the midpoint of chapter 661, we can now calculate that there are only 25.5 chapters left to adapt across the 13 episodes episodes of Cour 4. This is really insane to imagine. Let me quickly put things into perspective. Cour 1 adapted 62 chapters, which had spanned from chapter 480 to 542. Cour 2 adapts chapter 543 to the midpoint of chapter 609, totaling 67.5 chapters. And now Cour 3 had adapted from the midpoint of chapter 609 to the midpoint of chapter 661. This totals 52 chapters worth of material. On average, across all three cours, they had covered about 60 chapters worth of content within each cour. This only leaves us with 25.5 chapters worth of manga content left. This means that Cour 4 will have over 57% of entirely new material that we have never seen before. This equates to 7.5 episodes worth of runtime, which will all be anime exclusive out of the 13 episodes of Cour 4. The remaining 25.5 chapters of Bleach feature some of the most rushed sections of the manga, but it also features a large number of reveals that are tightly packed that need to be given room to breathe. I'm going to quickly do a spoiler alert because I'm revealing what we've got left to expect in Cour 4, so we have the rest of Yoruichi vs Askin to look forward to, Urahara's Bankai activation, Kinpachi's Bankai, Hitsugaya's adult form, the remainder of the fight against Gerard, as well as the fight against Askin, and now that Ryuken and Isshin have appeared within Vaharvelt way ahead of schedule, I definitely think that their characters will be utilized massively within Cour 4. We also have Ichigo's Horn of Salvation form, which will be revealed, and not to forget the insane confrontation between Aizen and Yhwach. The final season of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime, if done right, could possibly cement the series as one of the greatest anime continuations in history. I am truly beyond excited to imagine just what new additions they will be making. It is like Kubo is going to casually drop 40 chapters worth of content for the Cour 4 anime to expand upon the rushed ending of Bleach's final arc. Additionally, I think that we may be getting some epilogue content, like hints at the We Do Not Always Love You material and the Can't For Your Own World content. I do want both of these light novels to ideally get their own OVAs or anime adaptations. And we even have the possibility that the final episodes of Cour 4 will hint at new revelations about the Hell arc, which Kubo has been keeping silent about ever since he had released the No Breaths from Hell one-shot chapter way back in August of 2021. This was an entire year before Cour 1 of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime had premiered. There really is a lot to look forward to in the future, and I've said it a lot, it's a great time to be a Bleach fan. Cour 3 has sadly come to a close, but it was truly an incredible batch of episodes that consistently elevated the content from the manga. The anime team at Pierrot Films have masterfully handled key moments in the story, like all of the additions that were made to Ukitake's character, with how Mimihagi is still releasing, thus explaining why the three realms are somewhat remaining stabilized while Yhwach is asleep. Then we have the addition of the Vizards healing Renji in episode 39, which was really appreciated, and I loved seeing them return to the fight against Gerard, with the anime once again making sure to seamlessly integrate characters who were forgotten within the manga. Also, that post-credit scene at the end of episode 39, which had given us more context behind how Isshin and Ryuken had left for Vaharvelt, was a fantastic addition. Episode 40 wrapped up with an emotional finale to Cour 3, with Uryu's motivations and his interactions with Ichigo and Hashward being massively improved upon. We have the removal of the collapsed chips plotline in favor of a more complicated story involving Ryuken and Soken, which gives us a lot to look forward to in Cour 4. The fight choreography during the Ichigo and Uryu fight was jaw-dropping, and episode 40 also showed us the funny but devastating fate of the Bambis, and not to forget the amazing Vizard holification scene as they prepared to battle Gerard. The Cour 3 finale does some incredible setup for the future, especially with how Ruroka and Yukio have appeared at the Shiba residence, which is where Ginjo and Tsukishima are currently training with Ganju. We also had brief teaser glimpses of Mayuri and Hitsugaya's character, as well as glimpses of Rangiku staring at Gerard, as well as the mystery behind Ukitake and Mimihagi who are still around, which hints at them still playing somewhat of a role within Cour 4. So until then, what did you think about the finale of Cour 3? Did you enjoy all of the anime exclusive editions that we got? What are your theories about Uryu's true plan to defeat feed you back? And what role do you think Isshin and Ryuken will play now that they have arrived within Varavelt earlier in the anime? Do be sure to stick around for tomorrow's manga versus anime comparison, where I'll be breaking down all of the fascinating changes and additions that have been made to the final 2 episodes of Cour 3. Lastly, if you have enjoyed following my reviews for Bleach, please do subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing all of you in my manga versus anime comparison for the finale of Cour 3. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.